Alright guys, we're going to be looking at part 2 of this video. So let's go ahead and look at this. The very first thing, it says the length of a rectangle. As soon as you hear a length of a rectangle, I want you drawing that shape. So it says the length of the rectangle, so here's the length, is 5 less. So anytime you hear less, it's going to be a subtraction sign. So it's 5 less than what? It's 5 less than 3 times the width. So the length is equal to 5 less than 3 times the width. So remember, let's be sure to label all our sides on these rectangles. And that means this is just the width, because that's what the length is being compared to. It says if the perimeter of the rectangle is 70. So that means if I add up all the sides, that would equal 70. So if I have my width plus my other width plus my length plus my other length, that would add up to 70 feet. So now all I do is combine like terms. I have 3w plus 3w is 6w, plus w is going to be 8w, minus 10 is equal to 70. So I'm going to add 10 on both sides. This will give me 8w is equal to 80, which means when I divide both sides by 8, w will equal 10. So that means that my width is 10, this width is 10, and it says that the length is 3 times the width minus 5. So 30 minus 5 is 25, 30 minus 5 is 25. So that is the dimensions of that rectangle. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. It says Adam is trying to solve the following riddle. The sum of 3 even integers is negative 36. What are the integers? So we previously looked at this one. Remember, we're looking at 3 consecutive integers. So that would be the first number plus the second number plus the third number. And that's going to add to a negative 36. So we know we're dealing with negative numbers here. Now the other thing it's telling us is that it's even numbers. So if you think about this, even numbers are like 2, 4, 6, 8. It's always 2 more greater than the previous one. So what we need to first do is define our variable. Our first variable, we're going to say the first one is n. And we're going to say n is an even number. So if my first number is n, what would my second even number be? Well, it would actually be not 1 more than n, but 2 more than n. As you can see, it's 2 greater to get to the next even number. So that means the third integer would be n plus 4, because it's 4 greater than my first number. So then, blue, it's going to look like n plus 2 plus n plus 4 is going to equal to negative 36. So then when I combine these, I'm going to have 3n plus 6 is equal to negative 36. We're going to subtract 6 on both sides to get 3n is equal to negative 42. And we're going to divide both sides by 3 to get n is equal to. And all we have to do is negative 42 divided by 3, which is negative 14. So if I look at the number line and I have negative 14, the next greater integer, it's not going to be negative 16, it's going to be negative 12. So the second one would be negative 12, and the third one would be negative 10. I know that because when I plug in 14 for my n values on all these, negative 14 on all these, that is what that equals. So the second one would be negative 12, while the third one would be negative 10. Alright, now this one deals with exams. So before we begin, it basically talks about averages. So if we want to remember what averages is, let's think about this. if I play basketball and I score 10 points the first game, 16 points the second game, and 20 points the third game, and I want to figure out what my average is, what we would do is take all these values, so 20, 16, and 10, and I would add them up. So I want to figure out how many points do I get per game. And so what you would do is you would add them up and divide them by the total amount of games. So that would be 3 games for me. So when I add these up, 10 plus 20 is 30. 30 plus 16 is 46. I'm going to have 46 over 3. So then when I divide these, my average is going to be 15.3 points per game. That is how you find average. Now that we know that, we can go ahead and look at this problem. So number 11 says Sam scored 90 points on his first math exam, 76% on his second exam, and 92 on his third exam. What must he get on his fourth exam, so I don't know what that is, to have an average of 88? So let's look at this. On his first test, he's going to get 90%. His second one, he's going to get 76. His third, he already got a 92. And his last test, he doesn't know what he needs to get, but he knows he wants to get an average of 88. So remember, what you do is you add up all your scores, you divide it by the total amount of tests, and we want to know what he needs to get an 88. So from here, all I do is begin solving. The first thing what I would want to do is combine all my like terms. So I'm going to have 90 plus 76 plus 92 equals 258. So I have 258 plus x all over 4. And that's going to equal 88. So the next step, what you do is you multiply both sides by 4 to have these cancel, and we'll have 258 plus x is equal to 88 times 4, which is 352. So we're going to have, up here in black, I'm going to finish it. It's going to say 258 plus x is equal to 352. I'm going to minus 258 on both sides. And when I do that, I'm going to get x is equal to what he needs to score on his last test, which is 94. So in order for Sam to get an 88 average, he needs to get a 94% on that last test in order for that to work. Alright, so now guys, I would like you to either watch the next video or start your homework.